Hello, hello. This is your host, Jeff Antonio, with the Jeff Antonio Show. And today we have a very special guest, Nasri of the band Magic and part of the production duo, The Messengers. How you doing, Nasri?
What's up?
How you been, man?
Been good, man. Thanks for having me.
It's an honor and a privilege to have you on the show, and I wanted to say thank you so much for joining us today.
No worries. My pleasure.
I have been checking out your music for the past 4 or 5 years, and ever since the single "Rude" came out, I was really impressed.
Thank you.
And I just got to say that I'm a fan first and foremost, for sure.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. What was the inspiration behind that song?
Um, that was a while ago. It's like any song, really, just kind of looking for um kind of something that opens up more ideas, like, and doing this kind of almost like jazzy reggae thing was something that I didn't do for a while. Like maybe I didn't write a song like that in, like, 7 or 8 years. So then to kind of like try something different like that really opened up this kind of fictional story, you know? Um, and I kind of like doing this reggae crooner thing on the song, almost like a joke, almost like joking around,
Sure.
Um, I do remember writing it. I remember kind of like almost like a light bulb in my head, because it was like this version is like 3 or 4 versions later into the song where we had totally different versions. There was like an urban version, like a R&B version, and then we tried this like just kind of like more um, people call it like friendly kind of summery reggae. And then when we tried that, all of a sudden it opened up again this kind of character, this crooner. Yeah, this like reggae crooner.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm in the studio right now. Let's see, got the headphones on. It's not a part of my outfit, they are for business purposes.
It's not part of the outfit. Gotcha. I find that interesting that it was the third or fourth version, and so you were kind of testing out the waters. You had an R&B version, kind of a soft reggae or summery reggae, and it seemed like that was the type that seemed to resonate a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the other versions, I couldn't even get them done. It was like a struggle because there wasn't, again, like that spark that opened up more ideas. Like when you do a song and a great idea will spark another idea and another idea. And, that's what kind of gets you through an arrangement. So with this one, going down this road that I've never been down before, it was just kind of a fountain of ideas, And then you have all these characters in the song and you're able to pull on them,
Mm-hmm.
In the first verse, he's, in the second verse, all these different levels.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. It's a very dynamic track, and it's got a lot of different things going on at the same time. And I thought the performances were solid, the writing was solid, and it's a very fresh song. As much as it's been played,
Mhm.
I gotta say I really don't get sick of it. You know?
Awesome.
Yeah. Some songs they wear them out. It's like, please, enough. Like enough, please stop. I've never really gotten sick of that song. It just kind of, I think, because it has so much going on in it. It's like there's always something to grab onto.
I mean, I think also part of it is that it is reggae, and reggae, it soothes you, it allows you to be yourself because number one, the tempo, and, it's not like a fast dance song or something kind of sonically abrasive, it's laid back and allows you to be in your own space while you listen. That's why we like reggae, because we're all really laid back and we all kind of um, want to feel comfortable in our own skin, and as a collective, when we do this vibe, everybody can kind of be themselves. And I feel like the way we do reggae has been so different than anybody else has, and we've kind of brought something different to this historically to the table.
I think so too. You definitely have a fresh take on it, and you've made it more interesting. I mean, I've always kind of been a fan of reggae, but I think you guys have a very fresh take on it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it makes you pay attention. And tell me more about the reggae influence. How did that start?
I'd say just coming from Toronto, we have a really big reggae scene there. So we grew up listening and hearing reggae all the time on the radio. In Toronto, there's like what is like the biggest Jamaican population outside of Jamaica.
Mhm.
So it's we have Caravana there every year. It's like it's just a kind of a part of our culture, and so it was very natural for us. Everybody had already played reggae before, in other bands or covers or that when we were doing it, and we were always kind of communicating about doing it our own way, and playing what you want to play, having the kind of structure of reggae, which whatever it's a one drop or on the rhythmic side or the kind of the reggae chinks but kind of doing it your own way with your own sounds and the way you hear it, and also for me as a writer, I don't try to emulate Bob Marley, or emulate these other reggae guys. I respect, what they do and I just try to be myself on top of it, and pull kind of influences from, my natural upbringing. I don't try to like be something that I'm not on top of it. I grew up on listening to a lot of R&B and
Mhm.
a lot of soul music. So if you hear songs on our records like "Let Your Hair Down," you hear this kind of soul reggae song, or you hear, you know, even on the new album, you hear a song like "Kiss Me." You know, though it's not as much of a reggae song as others, you still hear that kind of little bit of Michael Jackson mixed with the kind of the Toto vibes, mixed with it's the stuff that you kind of grew up on, and then it comes out of you, and then you have a song like "More of You" on the new album, which is like it's kind of like a Bryan Adams song. It's like
Mhm.
this kind of like beautiful, straight ahead song. And it's a love song, and it's like again, like I always say like the difference between Magic and kind of the other reggae bands, as much as we love them, most of them are all friends of ours,
Mhm.
is that I come from being a pop writer, you know? So when I hear an idea in the room, I hear it in a way that's kind of like, I don't know, very broad, very like, somebody asked me one time when Magic started, so what's your demographic? And I said, everybody. And everybody was like, what are you talking about?
Right, right.
You need to pick a demographic. I said, no, I don't. Everybody,
Yeah.
and Rude got everybody, and that's, I want to continue to do that. And pop music is the way you do that.
No, I totally get what you're saying. You're coming from a pop foundation, and you're not really trying to emulate any particular artist or reggae artist. It's your own sound from the different influences you have. Very
Exactly.
natural thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it comes through. Very unique.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really does. So take us to the beginning. How did your music path start as a kid, listening to music growing up?
Um, I would say probably with my cousin. My cousin Julie was obsessed with the New Kids on the Block.
Oh yeah.
I was, she was like probably like 10 or something. And I was like 6, 7, and I used to go to her room and I used to like hear these songs and I'd be like, and I really loved it. I was like, man, like I love this group and these songs. And I started kind of getting into like wanting to listen to music all the time, and learn the dance steps. And that was kind of my first memory around, was kind of that group. Funny, I ended up working with them.
Did you?
Yeah, I ended up doing a bunch of their reunion album. Um, and yeah, and then as obviously as I got older and was in school, then you start to, Boys to Men was very big when I was like, 12, 13, and I was just in awe. I was like,
Wow.
couldn't believe that these guys were singing like this.
Hmm.
Um, and then it kind of grew, and I became a big Usher fan in high school, and because it was really big into these kind of like R&B guys.
Yeah.
Because I was an R&B guy, I had like a fade.
Yeah, the fade.
I used to wear like really baggy shirts and had the whole look, and I was obsessed with just like R&B songs. And then there was the big kind of boy band era,
Hmm.
and I thought, okay, I was a dancer, and I was like, okay, maybe I should like be in a boy band. So
Hmm.
I was like, okay, maybe I'll just save some money and like move to Orlando or whatever. And then in doing that, I ended up discovering soul music. I ended up discovering, Music Soul Child was really big at the time.
Oh yeah.
And I went into a radio station to try to get them to play my music, and I met him. It's like walking through the door. And I ended up going to all these soul jams and started like learning D'Angelo songs, and like found out that I had a little more of this kind of soul R&B thing. Because soul music was huge, D'Angelo and Erykah Badu and everybody, they were like, they were everywhere.
The big wave. Yeah.
And so I got into that, and then at about 19, I was in Toronto, and the Toronto music scene wasn't what it is now, with Drake and everybody just like exploding it. At that time, it was no one. There was nothing. And I was like, I have to leave. And so 3 days later, I just moved to New York with like nothing. I was just like, I gotta go. And so I was training as a dancer in New York. And I was like, okay, I'll just work on the dancing.
Hmm.
I didn't have the kind of like taste for songwriting that I do now. I just had recorded with Adam when I was about 17, 18, like 3 or 4, maybe 7 songs at that time. I didn't have much. And then I met this management in Philly, and then these are all very, very long stories, but it's like,
So great story.
and then I'd go back to Toronto. I say, hey, Adam, I met these people. We should make more songs. And at that time, I couldn't produce. I couldn't engineer. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't play an instrument. All I could do was basically just spend 2 weeks coming up with like one hook,
Right.
And that's what I would do. And I would filter through my ideas, and then I would go and then we'd record some more, and then I would take some meetings in New York, and then nobody wanted to sign me. Then Irv Gotti wanted to sign me.
Okay.
I stayed with him for a bit. That deal didn't go through, which is funny because I did a song with him like 2 months ago. We were just hanging out. It was hilarious.
Wow.
And so I did that. And so then I was in New York. I had no money, and then I ended up in LA with this producer named Hakeem, who was a part of a group called the Boys. He was signed to Akon, and he I think he lives in like Africa now. But he sent me tracks, and then I wrote over them. I never did that before. I wrote over them. He was like, "Wow, this is great. Who is this?" Flew me to LA, put me in this like a hotel room, like one of those not so well kept ones.
Right.
Not his fault. Hotels are expensive. I get it. And
Yeah.
gave me his laptop and said, here's how you record. And it was like a nightmare to me. I was like, what? So then he gave me his tracks, and he would put the track into the file, and then I would sing my idea. And I would just sit in this hotel room all day. I mean, in LA, there was no Uber then. So you couldn't get around. I would just sit by the airport for a month, just writing over and over and over, trying to like prove, I don't know what I was trying to do, right? I was just trying to get somebody to notice me. And then from there, this is a very extensive story, but basically,
It's a good one.
basically I ended up getting into writing, right, heavily. And then Adam came from Toronto with his now wife, Donna.
Okay.
And I said, we should be a writing team. We should be a production team together,
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about what that even was. I said, well, I met these producers and they like put an idea together and then they sell it to somebody else. I
Right.
said, I mean, we could do that. I could do all the lyrics and the melodies and you could do all the production. And then within almost like a month, we had a job.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah. So then we ended up doing Michael Bolton and New Kids on the Block. And I remember we did those projects and it was like crazy. I mean, I was in the studio every day with either one of those projects.
Mm-hmm.
And they were both through a woman named Jolene Cherry. It was all through the kind of same people at Interscope at the time.
Okay.
And yeah, I was just kind of learning how to do it. And then my lawyer said to me, he said, you need to get the single. If you get the single, we can get you a publishing deal. I said, what do you mean? What's a single?
Right.
The song that they put out first, like, you're writing all this stuff and it's really soulful. You need to write something that's like really catchy.
Yeah.
So that night I wrote Summertime. I wrote New Kids on the Block single. I was like, okay, so you want some just like catchy stuff? No problem. And then that was it. So then I got a big publishing deal with Sony ATV, and then went with Jody Gerson, and then it began. And then I started thinking, man, it was cool to work with these artists who were already established, but I want to work with people who are new too,
Mm-hmm.
And then I played basketball a lot. And I went to play basketball, and Chris Brown was there.
Nice.
Young Chris Brown. And we're just sitting there, and we ended up on the same team. We ended up doing pretty well together. And then I went up to him after. I was like, hey, man, I'm a songwriter. Like, he's like, take my number. And then I ended up doing a song called Crawl for him that he loved. And then the Messengers started to get known. Then we ended up I met Bieber in a hotel lobby when he was young.
Wow.
It's like, aren't you that kid from YouTube? And then Scooter Braun had loved the song Crawl. He would send me some stuff. And then I sent him, and then we ended up with 2 songs on the Bieber album. And then I ended up doing all the Bieber stuff. And then Chris Brown would call me every album, and I would do a song. And I just started building relationships,
Wow. That's what it seems to be. It's really about meeting people and building relationships.
Yeah. It was funny because most of the people I met, they weren't in meetings.
Right. Just by chance meetings.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like almost like you prepare something. So you create, say, 10 songs. When you create those songs, you're actually making phone calls just by creating them.
You're putting it out there in the universe.
Yeah, the world will start to shift because of what you created.
Right.
And that's why I just keep collaborating. Some people sit and they're like, we need a strategy. And I was like, nope, you don't need anything. Just keep creating. And the strategy shows itself through the creative, It's like the song is always going to be the script, That is what is. So if you have a song that's R&B and soulful, then you're now going to think of some R&B soulful acts. It's the same with Magic. So no difference with the band. It's like the song decides what we do, how we dress, how we move.
Right.
We follow the music. We don't follow our egos or our fashion. We don't even dress that well. We just follow the music. We always talk about the band's longevity.
Mm-hmm.
We want people to come when we have beer bellies and and just enjoy the music. You know what I mean? We don't want people to come because for an aesthetic reason. That's not the point of Magic. That's not why these 4 specific people got together. It is purely for the musical chemistry.
Right.
So that's what we want to do. Now with me doing stuff as Nasri, it may be different, when I go to features or, but as Magic, we always say like this collective it's about the collective. It's authentically a band.
Right.
When you see the credits and you see these songs, we actually did sit and write that song together. It's not kind of fabricated or or bought from somebody else or anything like that. And look, you don't see like a lot of features. You don't see anything like that. The
Right.
features are always something genuine. We don't go and buy features, for streaming. We don't do anything like that. We are authentically a band first. Now, if a song came out today, it came out of me and it was like really cool and urban, and it was asking for that feature, and I play that for that somebody that I actually know, a hip
Hmm.
hop artist, and they're like, "Man, I love this. Let me get behind." Then that's the way that we work. We don't.
A natural chemistry.
Yeah, we
It's
don't.
not about trying to get somewhere through it.
We don't care to chase anything or to chase the charts. Or we didn't even think Rude was going to be a hit. We were just like, and we don't want to change that purity, because anybody who chases hits, they're gone, man.
It never works, does it?
Never works, never in
Yeah.
your life. But if you make something and you genuinely feel it and enjoy it, then you can grow over time. It's like, look at till this day. The Eagles, God rest his soul. What was his name?
Glenn,
Glenn.
yeah,
Glenn Fry, I believe. Glenn Fry.
Glenn Fry. Hmm.
Yeah, God rest his soul. He passes away, but still, people are still singing your lyrics, man.
Forever.
Still, like it's
Yeah.
because they always put the focus on the music. They were like, and I see us like that.
I could totally see that. Yeah, you're right. The Eagles were about the music. They weren't really about much else.
I think when you're ready to go and take certain risks, and it feels right. Right now, we still enjoy the fusion that we have, and we are frustrated that another song hasn't worked yet, because we feel like what we have made is at the quality of Rude.
Oh, it's great.
But God has a plan, and we just have to continue to express ourselves and put it out to the world and grow not only our fan base but our own personal characters, and just continue to share like we did when we started. It's no different.
No, absolutely. And I see the consistency. I mean, with Girl at Coachella, Motions, Expectations, I really like Little Bit of Love. They're all consistent. You have this consistency going where it really is about the quality of the music and the songs, and the production is great. So I see what you're saying. It's like it's a steady stream. There's not this kind of up, down, up, down.
Never will be.
Yeah. No, it's really inspiring.
The big factor is that we are professional music producers. So we are not at the mercy of, hiring, some guy. Adam, who has been collaborating with us, has been a part of it the whole time. There's nobody who's like a foot in and a foot out. There's nothing like that. We don't play any sort of politics,
Right.
I feel bad for artists. I mean, listen, I write for a lot of people, and I feel really bad for artists who they have to play these politics because they can't, from their own body, make the music, and they haven't taken that time to figure out how to engineer and to play with the drums. And for us, it's like we surrounded ourselves with people who do that, and then we taught each other how to do things. Our bass player Ben, he couldn't engineer before this, and now he's making tracks. Now he's like, we sat and taught him. We were like, the longevity of this band is going to be the strength of the individuals. Even like when it comes to our show, like, all the little things, because there's like a click that connects all of us. Is that like we do all that stuff ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We learned how to use those programs, and
Ableton?
I think we're using Ableton now, yeah.
Okay.
And because we were using something else before, but he sat and he figured out how to do it. We don't, we're really self-sufficient, so we really respect the whole process of it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I just go to dance rehearsal spaces and I just move. Just because like I got to stay loose. I'm gonna do a show in a month, and where's the body at? What can I strengthen? Like we're just always sharpening the tool. Like the guys are always doing shows, individual shows, jumping in with gigs in LA. Like they always stay sharp, and I'm always in the studio, constantly writing, coming up with hooks. It's a really competitive time right now. There's like 30,000 releases a week.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially if you know, on Spotify, you see the releases come out every Friday, and there's quite a bit all the time.
Insane, right?
Yeah,
And yeah, there's temptation to lean into like kind of the urban climate, um, especially knowing that I come from writing urban music and stuff. But I think about magic in itself as, well, what about in 10 years? You know, what about in 20 years? We actually all agreed on the marathon. So we want people to come and feel that essence. We want you to come to our show in December and feel like it's summer
right.
because of the reggae. You know, we want you to be indoors and, you know, and be grooving when it's cold outside. Like, so it's always a fine line, and it's tough. It's always tough to stay in your lane, man. It's tough. It's so tempting, you
I
know?
can imagine. I could imagine.
Yeah.
How do you balance that? Because you know, especially with the success you've had, you know, you're getting pushed and pulled by the, you know, the industry type. I mean, how do you stay in your lane, stay the course, and not always listen to all those external voices?
Um, I I actually listen to the external voices and I hear them and I go for them. I sit and make those records and I don't kind of fight it. You know, I allow it to come through me and I'm like, okay, that's what's happening. And I'll make it. And I'll be like, okay. And if it works, it works. And then generally we'll turn around. I'll be like, okay, well, now that I kind of got that out of my system, then I'll make, you know, all of a sudden I'm making this more magic song that is people know, like, and then all of a sudden, you know, I don't really fight it. I don't say no to the voice. I say, okay, I hear that. I love that new Post Malone song.
Right.
You know, it's kind of triggering me this way. Okay, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna see where it goes. It may go somewhere really cool. You know, it may not. You know, but I think fighting it is a big mistake, and I think that's what creates that battle that artists have a lot,
Hmm.
where they're just like, I don't know what I am. You know, it's just like, you are everything. It's totally fine. You can be all those things. Magic can turn into a disco band. You know, if you know, the plan is to have it be a reggae band, but then when you're together and you're playing whatever you're playing, if somebody just watched Saturday Night Fever, he's gonna come in with some disco grooves. You know,
Some Bee Gees magic. Yeah.
yeah, and then maybe you embraced it that day, and that's really it. We don't really fight it. It's like I can't really describe it, but um, and we are in the arguments. It's a lot of arguments. We sit and we argue about the fate of every decision, and a lot of conversations. That also helps stay the course. We also work with our record company and our management and play songs, and sometimes you just got to sit back and just look at the room. Okay, oh, I'm really feeling that one, you know, and base it off of what people are feeling. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes people have an agenda and they may give you the impression that they're feeling it, but really they have an agenda and they want you to stay in a certain line or lane.
Yeah.
But what I've learned in the business is that nobody can deny a hit. So no matter what the genre is, if I play a hit in the room, there's going to be a very particular reaction to that melody.
And you know it when you see it.
Yeah, because it's very rare.
Right.
Very
It's
rare.
it's very rare. It's like you really see in the room, like, okay, this is gonna pop off. I know it. I know for a fact.
It's going to pop off the conversations, you know?
Hmm.
It's just, I can't describe it until you're actually in a room and you see the meeting and then you play 5 songs and you know that one is coming up and you play it and everybody goes, they're not looking at their phones. They're just like, what is this? Like,
Right.
yeah.
Isn't that the classic saying? It's like, I don't know what a hit is or will be, but I just know it when I hear it, or I know it when I feel it.
I couldn't tell you how to write a hit. I don't even know how.
Wow. Coming from a hit songwriter.
I'm just writing whatever comes out of me.
Yeah.
And over time, the formula got embedded. But sometimes I'm making something, oh, this is really good. I'll come back in a week and I'll be like, well, this was nothing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm feeling nothing when I'm making it. I come back and I was like, whoa, what's that?
That's interesting. Do you have a like a waiting time frame? So, you'll do a track and maybe you're working on it a couple of days and you're like, man, this is a bad track. And then you say, okay, I'm always going to give myself a week or something to kind of get away from it, come back, make sure I like it.
Yeah, pretty much a week.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's what I would figure. Cause sometimes it's like you hear it so many times. How do you know it's hot or not? I mean, of course you think it's hot. You made it.
You got to play for people. You
Yeah.
got to, you know,
Yeah.
see an honest reaction outside of your own ego, which is so proud of yourself, for making something. You're like, oh, in that moment, you're like, I'm awesome.
Right.
But then that's you maybe accomplished something that you've wanted to accomplish. Maybe I've wanted to make a Latin a fusion song and then I did it. But then when I play it beside, J Balvin, I'm like, man, he's way better at this than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like he really is. He's an actual Latino guy. He actually so that's the point. You know what I mean? It's like it's a constant I can't describe it, but you have to remain cool, man. You just have to play the song for people and take their honest reaction.
It seems almost like kind of like a spiritual experience almost. It's just kind of, you sit back and you just feel it. You don't force it, but you feel the room. That's very interesting. So Nasri, I find it so brave that, you took the steps to go from Toronto to New York, very little money to your name in the process and do that. I think there's so many people out there listening that maybe there's been times in their life where they're like, maybe I should make this step, maybe I should make that step. What was it for you in your life that you broke through that resistance, whether it be the inner mindset telling you no or other people saying, no, you can't? How'd you break through that? Because I'm sure, there was some fear.
I never had the no in my head.
What's that?
I never had that voice in my head saying no.
Never.
No.
You just, boom, straight ahead.
I started a band at 32.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
If there's something in my head, I teach this to my kids too. I'm like, just do it, man.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
Don't think.
My father is very much a go for it guy. Just go for it.
Just do it. Just do it.
My mother is more cautious.
Okay.
And I think that allowed me to go for it with kind of a level of intelligence, but also being cautious. While I'm going, I have my eyes open,
Right.
And, I think also because we didn't grow up with a ton of money. We didn't grow up in a pampered household, that staying in places that were inconvenient was not a problem for me.
Right.
Sleeping on floors and falling asleep in subway stations because you have nowhere to go, and all those things that I did was just fine. It was like, whatever,
Just part of the experience.
Yeah, didn't even think about it. Plus, I think for me, I never drank or smoked. I never did any sort of drugs.
Smart.
So it was all business for me.
Yeah.
I didn't even try to meet women for a long time in the journey. I didn't want anything to do with women. Not until I was like 25 or 26 that I started kind of dating. Like I was just like
super focused.
Yeah, like
wow.
Now I have a family and everything, and I'm still just as focused. It's the same thing.
Yeah. When you make up your mind, it's just go for it straight ahead. Is that something that you feel is natural, or was that learned over time to have that super focus?
Yes, always.
Just the way it is. That's awesome.
I mean, I played sports. I played everything, and always the same focus. When I play a board game, people didn't want to play with me. Even till this day.
They don't want to lose?
During the Christmas holidays, my brother's like, I do not want to play with you anymore.
Yeah.
You know, because I had like this kind of laser focus, you know?
He's taking a beating?
No, I mean, I would lose too, but when I would lose, I would never lose, you know, like in a way that was kind. I was kind of ruthless as a child when I play. Till this day, I've figured out how to filter it a bit. But when I play board games, there's like a tick. I don't know what it is. I play to like destroy everybody I'm playing with, and it's a problem. I have a problem. Same, I go play basketball. You know, I play, you know, to win. You know, I play
to win it, man. Yeah.
Music. When we create, it's a little different. It's weird. Like, I do have a real competitive nature. I go every day to create something great. But when I'm creating music, I create to feel something, you know, and to spread it around the world. I feel like that the gift was given. I think that drive in me was given to me because maybe God knew that I would spread it around. Like I would fight to make everybody hear this. Because if you listen to a lot of the music that I make, it's positive, you know? It's all ages. It's like anybody could listen to it, but it's still hip, you know? It's like, it's not children's music. It's everybody's music.
It's worldly. It's very worldly in a popular way. And I agree with that. And it's upbeat too. It's got a very positive vibe. And I think it goes to say when you're doing things for the right reason, then that really connects with people, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So tell me, how did you form Magic? I mean, how did you find those right guys to make that band?
In the studio, really. We all met through writing. They all knew each other. They all knew each other from doing gigs in Toronto, but I met them through writing. I was writing for other people, and I was already a known writer, and they wanted to get in the writing game, and I was introduced to Mark through a mutual friend, and then we would always just hang out and kick it, and then he was playing this reggae groove one time, and we were all just goofing around, and I started singing, and then it just went in my head, and I was like, we should start a reggae band. And
right.
He brought Ben and Alex to the table, who he had known from Toronto.
Okay.
Well, there was an original bass player, but he didn't work out. And then Ben was around, who he had just moved to Toronto from getting his heart broken. And he came to LA, and then he was always around, getting high. And then it turned out that he was also 30-something years old, played the bass, and was single, and was 6 feet tall from Toronto. And I was like, what? Perfect. All this kind of the pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah. So at what point do you know it's a band versus jamming and writing songs together?
Oh, it was instantly a band. It was instantly.
Yeah.
Second Ben came in, and we all played together in the rehearsal.
That was the click.
Like, yeah. You know, it's like, and listen, it's kind of my fault a lot of the times, because at the beginning our shows were a bit all over the place because I was so inexperienced with performing live.
Yeah.
I had a dance background. I had a studio singing background, but singing live is something different. How you perform, how you move. So yeah, that first run of the first time I opened for Maroon 5 was in front of 20,000 people. Was the 10th show I ever did in my life.
What? No way.
And I was like, man, and I'm a fast learner, you know. So by the European tour, we were wearing suits on the first half of the tour. By the tour, I was like, one second. I was like, sorry, she's texting. I was like, yo, it's time. I was like, I figured it out. We should like be earthy. We should be ourselves.
Yeah. And so you busted out with your own outfits. But there's something to be said about your 10th show being in front of 10,000 people. Was there any fear at all in that moment where you realize, wow, I'm in front of like a huge crowd here, and fight or flight?
No. there was only at the very beginning there was like that fear.
In the beginning of playing with the band,
Yeah,
or
like the first like one show, two shows, and then it just was gone, man. I
it
don't know
just
where, I don't know where it
it,
went.
it came and went.
Can't really explain it, but I could be like backstage at a show and just be like talking about like chicken or like they're like, oh, you're on. I'm like, oh, okay.
Cool.
Like,
Let's go.
yeah, I think it's because my ideas and spirit and the show and everything all kind of came together and all understood each other, and then it became me. Then I was able to be myself, and then once you're yourself, then you're just yourself. You know what I'm saying? So
If you're being you, there's no struggle in that. You're just being yourself naturally. So I mean, that's an amazing feat for the 10th show. You know, going on tour with Maroon 5, and so were you guys playing LA showcases before that, or you just strictly recording and then just boom,
we only
come
did,
out with it?
I think we only did one.
Okay, wow, that's great. And so, in the beginning, when you were making the album, did you have much connection with the label, or was it like you, since you have so much production and songwriting background, you did it, it was done, and you just delivered?
I was fully with Charles Chavez, who was our production company and our manager at the time. We kind of did the A&Ring. And a lot of it was just within the band. It was just like an Adam Messenger and just doing whatever the hell we wanted, man. We just didn't care.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you truly are like who you want to be. There wasn't much, hey, you should try this, or I don't know about this reggae thing, do that. It's like, no, here it is delivered.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Now, what about that first experience with Maroon 5 being on tour? Was it fun? Was it exhausting? How'd that go?
No, I remember we had 45 shows and I worked out 43 days out of the 45. I was like a machine.
How you do it? How you do it without getting ragged?
I don't know. I don't do drugs.
That helps.
And I also don't eat carbs.
That helps too.
So I don't tire myself constantly.
Yeah.
If you take care of yourself, then you can withstand more. Also, it was just so exciting. I was just so excited every night, see all the people embracing us. We had 4 or 5 songs, and I was like, okay, I'm going to try to do the best I can and learn how to entertain these people. And the tough thing when you do an arena and you're the opening act is you only have a very small part of the stage, and they don't give you all the lights. They give you maybe 8 lights, and they have like 200.
Right.
So you have to figure out how to get everyone's attention in this big arena. So we decided to wear suits to try to like
stand out and kind of.
I regret it.
Really? Why?
Yeah, we should have just been ourselves, So then the second half, the European tour went way better because I was just myself, and I was just grooving. And then we had fans coming afterwards saying they absolutely loved it. And they wanted us to do a longer set, and it was awesome, and we appreciate Maroon 5 till this day for exposing us to their fans,
Oh, for sure. Do you think that played a big part in the breakthrough of the first album?
No, it was already out. Yeah, it was already out. Rude was already #1. So, but it was definitely awesome, and hopefully all those people come back and come see our thing. And
for sure.
We're forever grateful. I mean, for them to put us in front of so many thousands of people is a very nice gesture to a new act,
Oh, big time. Nasri, how do you get into your creative zone when you have
there, man,
the modern day life calling you and this and that? How do you just wake up and just start writing? I mean, how do you get into that zone, man?
It's just on.
It's just on.
Yeah.
So what's your daily routine? You wake up and what do you do?
Take kid to school, go play basketball, go to the studio,
and that's it. Day in, day out.
Start touching the music. Yeah.
When you write a song, you start off with the beat, guitar, keys. What do you do?
Never the same.
Never the same. That keeps it interesting.
It just depends who's in the room, and if they just start playing something, you just jump on in. Yeah.
You just vibe. How about finding the right people to collaborate with? What's your selection process on that?
I don't know. I just always been lucky that 9 out of 10 people that I end up in the room with, I have a good chemistry with them. As long as they're kind and they are open to honesty, then I'll work with them. But if you're not honest, I can't work with you. If you
Right.
can't hear the truth, that I don't like your idea or you don't like mine, we're not going to write a good song.
Can you take us through an experience where maybe, it didn't work out so well? I mean, how do you handle
4
that?
days out of the week for 10 years. That's why people only have 3 or 4 hits in their life. A lot of the times, when you're making music, you have to realize that you're making music not for yourself, for other people, when you're a songwriter.
Right.
So you have to drop your ego and you have to come in and just play that part that feels good. And a lot of times I think people and people that I'm collaborating with, or even myself, sometimes lyrically I go too far, and I lose the point. And then it ends up being something that isn't very digestible. So I have a ton of music I'll never release. It's just stuff that I make for myself.
Okay.
And I have, cause it's nonsense, most of it, but it's like anything. It's like sometimes when I go play basketball, I just want to do crazy moves, because I need to feel myself for a moment.
You need to work it out. Right?
I just need to give myself a little, it's like making stuff that isn't formatted for pop radio and stuff is really, really fun. And it's just kind of ridiculous stuff that I'll write and like crazy concepts and stuff that I enjoy making. It is good to stretch. I could stretch my body and my spirit,
Mm-hmm. So I think that it's almost like it's like working out the basketball moves or the dance moves. Sometimes you just gotta stretch it out, try something, feel it, and that keeps you open as an artist and a producer.
Yeah, exactly. And again, like in a lot of these sessions, just coming in with a good attitude is probably the best thing. Just be laid back, listen to people talk and ask them about their day, and just be normal.
Yeah.
The music we're already there. We know we're there to make music. We don't have to talk about that. That's going to happen on its own.
So you just start off talking about life and just let it find its way through the music.
Today? Like normal, just super normal. It's like if you met anybody at any, what's up, man? How's your dog? Like,
Yeah, my dog is sick, and then you.
All of it. Yeah, exactly.
Wow. How do you split your time between magic and producing and songwriting?
I don't really. I just kind of write every day, and then if some songs come out and that feel more like magic, then they're magic. And if I'm collaborating with the guys and they just come over, we're kicking it, but it's nothing scheduled. It's not like that.
So it's just whatever flows out, and you just put it where it belongs once you produce the song and what have you.
Pretty much.
Have you ever had a song that was really amazing and it was kind of it teetered on that line of, well, I could let someone else have it, or this could be a hot magic?
I'm on like 5 of them right now.
Really?
Figuring out what to do. Yeah.
What do you do? Just
haven't figured it out yet. Really strong songs, and I'm like, oh, what do I do?
Yeah. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Somebody else, they do all the work. You make the money.
Exactly.
You take it, you have to do all the work, So figuring that out.
So tell me what's next on the horizon for you?
Just a ton of writing, man. I've been in rooms with amazing artists lately. And always going with new people, known people. And then Magic putting up it's kind of like a Jason Mraz summary.
Mm-hmm.
And then doing some touring, doing the Cabu Festival, and then we're doing Canadian tours, and we're setting up a Brazilian tour right now, looking to finally do an American tour our own. Fans don't realize out there, but our band is only like 4 years old. So
right.
Where's your American tour? I was like, we just started our business. It's like still trying to figure that out. But we're going to come around. And yeah, we're just recording. It's going to be recorded over the next 2 months. More recordings, looking at some movie opportunities, and probably some new music videos. The year has just started, so everybody's like, oh, you know.
Everybody's trying to get back on track.
I've recorded some awesome songs, man, right from the beginning of the year. Like, so it may shift. Something may shift right now. A few really special things came out of me over the last couple of weeks. So we'll see. Obviously, I want people to hear this album. I feel like people didn't hear it, and that's why we're doing an interview like this, and just more interviews and more stuff so people hear this album. I think it's very special. I think that the songs are really focused on the kind of the domestic life. And yeah, that's it.
It's a great album. Is any particular track on Expectations that's a favorite of yours, personally?
I love Kiss Me. I think Kiss Me is just fucking amazing, man.
Yeah.
It's a hard song to record. And I love More of You, obviously. More of You is huge. And I like that we're doing this reggae version. The label wants to try a reggae version. And I was like, I'll try it. And and then I tried it. I was like, this feels good. Let's try it. Like, let's put them both out there, you know?
Let's try it out. Just feel it, like you said.
Just feel it.
Let's feel it, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. Nasri, tell everybody where we can find you online.
You can find Magic at ournameismagic.com or Our Name is Magic on all of like Instagram and Twitter and stuff. For me, it's Nasri from Magic on Instagram is probably the best place because that's where I'm the most active.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Nasri, it's been an honor and a privilege having you on the Jeff Antonio Show. I want to say thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you, man. Awesome interview. I had a great time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We got to do this again sometime.
Anytime, man.
Awesome.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you so much.
Dude, thanks, dude. Have a good day, man.
Take care. And to everybody listening, make sure you tune in and keep up the hustle. Thank you.